$20 a month. That is the price of a single takeout meal. And right now, two of the most followed developers on the planet are saying the same thing. For $20, Cursor might be the best deal in all of artificial intelligence. The question is why? Why is so much capability suddenly packed into one cheap subscription? The answer is not what you think. It is not a better editor. It is a gigawatt supercomputer. This is the deep dive. Here is what people are actually saying. Gianluca Minoprio wrote, "The Cursor acquisition could be the best thing for both xAI and Cursor." Grok 4.5, he wrote, is already so good, cheap, fast, decent, smart. And Lasse replied with the line that started this whole investigation. Cursor Pro, he wrote, must be the best value you can get right now for $20. Grok 4.5 is so amazing. Two developers, the same claim. So let us find out if it is true. First, the obvious objection. Cursor is just a clone of Visual Studio Code. And yes, it started that way. Cursor forked the open source editor, kept your extensions, kept your key bindings, and added an artificial intelligence layer on top. For a long time, that is exactly what it was, a familiar editor with a smarter autocomplete. If that was still true, $20 would be a fair price and a boring story. But somewhere in the last year, the thing under the hood changed completely. Here is the reframe. Visual Studio Code runs on your laptop. Cursor runs on Colossus. Colossus is the name of xAI's supercomputer in Memphis, Tennessee. 555,000 graphics processors, 2 gigawatts of power, roughly the electricity of 1.5 million homes. When you pay Cursor $20, you are not buying a text editor. You are renting a slice of that machine. That is the whole story, and everything else is why. So what did Cursor actually become? Three things, all sharing one brain. First, the editor, the window you write code in. Second, the terminal agent, Cursor CLI. The exact same agent, but it lives in your command line. You install it with one command, and it runs on any machine in any environment, even inside your automated pipelines. It can update your documentation, fix bugs, and ship code while you sleep. Same engine, different door. And third, the cloud and mobile agent. Cursor agents run on their own virtual machines in the cloud, working in parallel. They plan, they build, they test, and they record a walkthrough for you to review when you come back. There is even an iOS app, so Cursor is no longer one window on your laptop. It is one agent delivered across the editor, the terminal, and the cloud. 3 places, one brain. And here is a detail most people miss. Cursor does not force you into one model. It can route your request to Grok 4.5, to Opus 5, to GPT 5.6 Sol, to Gemini, or to its own model, Composer. Or, with one keystroke, it picks the best model for the task itself. That auto-routing is the quiet part. When the tool chooses the cheapest model that can still do the job, the effective price of your work drops. You do not see it, but it is why $20 stretches so far. And in 2026, Cursor made the break official. With version 3, the company stopped pretending it was a code editor with artificial intelligence bolted on. It rewrote the interface around the agent. The editor became, in their own words, a fallback. The agent became the product. One industry writer put it plainly. Cursor 3 just replaced the code editor with an agent management console. The familiar window is still there, but it is now the waiting room. The agent does the work. To understand why this happened, you have to follow the money. Cursor's revenue did not grow. It exploded. 100 million in annual recurring revenue, then 200 million, then 500 million, then $1 billion by the end of 2025, doubling roughly every 2 months. By the time it was acquired, Cursor was at $4 billion in annualized revenue. That is one of the fastest ramps in software history, so fast that you would assume the company was printing money. It was not. It was losing it, and that is where the story turns. Here is the uncomfortable truth behind those numbers. For most of its life, Cursor did not own the brain it was selling. It rented it at retail prices from Anthropic, the makers of Claude. Cursor was, for a time, Anthropic's single largest customer. Nearly all of Cursor's revenue flowed straight back out the door to pay for Claude. One analyst summarized the whole industry's problem in a sentence: burning $1 to make 90 cents is not a business. Cursor was growing fast and losing money on every subscription. And here is the strangest part. While Cursor's revenue was shooting up, its market share was going down. Spending data shows Cursor's share of the corporate coding market fell from about 41% to 26% in 1 year, even as its sales tripled. How is that possible? Because the company Cursor was paying, Anthropic, was also its biggest competitor, selling its own tool, Claude Code, at cost. Cursor was funding its own rival, growing, winning, and slowly losing, all at the same time. So in June 2026, Cursor did the only thing it could. It sold itself. On June 16th, SpaceX agreed to buy Cursor. The company behind it is called Anysphere for $60 billion, all in stock. It was widely called the largest acquisition of a venture-backed startup in history. The post you are reading names the whole play in 3 lines: the acquisition, the new India plan, and the price. But the number is not the story. The reason for the number is the story. And yes, there is confusion about who actually bought it, so let us settle it. SpaceX bought Cursor on paper, but xAI, the artificial intelligence company, had already merged with SpaceX a month earlier. And a few weeks after the deal, xAI was rebranded as SpaceX AI, folding Grok, the social network X, and the Colossus supercomputer under one roof. So when people say xAI bought Cursor, and when others say SpaceX bought Cursor, they are both right. SpaceX is the acquirer, xAI is the arm that absorbs it. And now you can see the shape of the whole thing. One company now owns all 4 pieces: the compute, the Colossus supercomputer, the model, Grok, the tool, Cursor, used by more than 1 million developers, and the data, roughly 150 million lines of code written every single day. Compute makes the model powers the tool generates the data trains the next model, around and around. No frontier lab has ever held all 4 at once, and that loop is why $20 can buy so much. The cheap price is not generosity, it is the natural exhaust of owning the entire stack. So let us look at that stack, starting at the bottom. This is Colossus, xAI's own page for it. The supercomputer sits in Memphis, Tennessee, built in 122 days. The first phase, 100,000 graphics processors, went live in 19 days. The chief executive of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, called the build-out superhuman. This is not a cloud you rent from Amazon. This is a single building on its own power plant, owned by one company, and it exists to do one thing: train Grok. And the scale is hard to wrap your head around. As of early 2026, Colossus holds around 555,000 graphics processors, 2 gigawatts of power, $18 billion in chips alone. That single site is roughly 4 times larger than the next biggest dedicated artificial intelligence facility on Earth. Larger than what OpenAI and Microsoft have, larger than Google, larger than Meta. When people talk about an artificial intelligence arms race, this is what they mean, and Cursor now sits on top of it. If you doubt they mean it, look at who builds Colossus. This is super heavy. 33 Raptor engines firing at once, the most powerful rocket booster ever flown and recovered by SpaceX, the same company that now owns Cursor. The point is not that rockets and supercomputers are the same. The point is the instinct. When this company enters a category, it builds the biggest thing in the room. Colossus is that instinct, pointed at artificial intelligence, and for $20 a month, a slice of it is yours. And on top of Colossus sits Grok 4.5, released in July 2026, the first Grok model built specifically for writing code, 80 tokens per second, about 4 times fewer tokens than the competition to finish the same task. And xAI's own words are the giveaway. Grok 4.5, they wrote, was trained alongside Cursor. The model got good at code by living inside the place where the code gets written, and the chief executive, Elon Musk, posted the chart you see here. Grok 4.5 and Opus 5 alone on the frontier. Then the reply that matters. Grok 4.6 in 2 weeks. Grok 4.7 in 4 weeks. But Cursor does not only use Grok, it has its own model called Composer. And here is the detail nobody tells you. According to Cursor's own technical report, Composer is not built from scratch. It is fine-tuned on top of Kimi K2.5, an open-weight model from a Chinese company, Moonshot. Cursor picked it over GLM and DeepSeek. So here is the irony. Cursor stands on open source, the editor is a fork, the model is a Chinese open base, yet it sells a closed product on top. And no, Cursor does not open source Composer, it keeps it proprietary. So with all of that in mind, look at the price again, $20 a month for the Pro plan. It includes extended limits on the agent, generous access to Grok and to Composer, access to the frontier models from every other lab, the connection standards, the skills, the hooks, and the cloud agents. Before the acquisition, $20 bought you an editor that rented its brain from a competitor. Now, $20 buys you time on the largest artificial intelligence supercomputer on Earth, plus the model trained on it. The price did not change. What the price buys changed completely. Put it side by side and the shift is stark. In 2024, your $20 bought a code window and a smart autocomplete running on rented models on your own laptop. In 2026, the same $20 buys the editor, the terminal agent, the cloud agents, Grok 4.5, Composer, and a share of a 2 gigawatt supercomputer. The dollar figure is identical. The stack underneath it is unrecognizable. That is the entire value proposition in one picture. And here is the part that makes it a moving target. The model under your subscription is now on a monthly improvement curve. Grok 4.5 shipped in July. Grok 4.6, a 2 trillion parameter model, was finishing training as this video was being written. Grok 4.7 is 2 weeks behind it. Elon Musk has said SpaceX will release a completely new, from-scratch model every month for the rest of the year. You never upgrade. The engine underneath you simply swaps out every few weeks for free. And Cursor's own model is about to take the same leap. This leak, from a developer watching the product closely, Cursor is already testing Composer 3. Internally, its codename is Vega, and the claim, if it holds, is explosive. Composer 3 outperforms Opus 5 and GPT 5.6 Sol at writing code and running agents, and it does it at 1/10 of the cost. That is the news peg of this whole story. The tool you already pay for is about to ship a model that, on paper, leapfrogs the two giants of the industry. And the same strategy is now going worldwide. This is the global launch, Cursor Start, a new plan for developers in India at 649 rupees a month. That is about $7. For that, you get generous access to Grok 4.5 and Composer, the always-on cloud agents, and iOS app and local payment methods like UPI. Read that carefully. The most expensive artificial intelligence supercomputer on Earth is being offered to a developer in Mumbai for the price of a sandwich. And one of Cursor's own ambassadors in India named the play out loud. This is not just a new pricing tier, he wrote. It is a strong signal that India has become one of the world's most important developer communities. He is right, but he is also describing the strategy. $20 in the West, $7 in India. The compute subsidy localized to capture every developer on Earth. Expect more regions. The price is not a discount. It is a land grab, paid for by a gigawatt. And yet, even as Cursor pushes its own in-house models, it did something quietly important this month. It added Kimi K3, an open-weight model, 2.8 trillion parameters, the largest open model ever released. It scores near the frontier on Cursor's own benchmark, and crucially, it is offered with zero data retention, meaning your code does not go into the training loop. That is the escape hatch. If you do not want your code feeding the machine, Cursor still gives you a way out, for now. And here is the proof that all of this is real, not just marketing. 2 weeks ago, on July 16th, Lee Robinson of Cursor posted this: "We just doubled the included usage of Cursor models on all plans. Enjoy more access to Grok 4.5 and Composer. The price did not move. The included compute simply doubled. That is the unit economics of the flywheel, landing in your subscription in real time. Whatever you thought $20 bought last month, it buys twice as much this month." Now the honest part, the catch. The same loop that makes $20 so cheap has a cost, and the cost is you. Every line of code you write through Cursor can flow back into the model that competes with you. The convenience and the lock-in are the same feature. Privacy mode exists. Kimi K3 with zero data retention exists. But the structural pull toward the in-house stack is new, and it is strong. You are no longer just a customer of an editor. You are a node inside a vertical artificial intelligence stack. The deal is good, but it is a deal with a trade. So here is where it lands. Cursor is not a Visual Studio Code clone anymore. It stopped being an editor and became a compute company. For $20 a month, you get an agent that runs in your editor, your terminal, and the cloud. A frontier model, Grok 4.5, trained on the work of 1 million developers. A homegrown model, Composer, about to leapfrog the giants. And behind all of it, a 2 gigawatt supercomputer in Memphis, improving the whole stack every single month. And for $20 a month, you are along for the ride. July 28th, 2026. If you like deep dives like this one, give it a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.